Hello, pre-algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and this is a little review video to help you get ready for the quiz on Thursday. Whether you're watching it Wednesday night or maybe Thursday in Mrs. Sopko's class, I was hoping that you could use this to help you get prepared. Anyway, so we're going to be able to say after this video, I can calculate surface area of cubes, rectangular and triangular prisms, and cylinders. And so let's start with this triangular prism. Remember, a triangular prism is built up of five shapes. Pardon me. The five shapes are two triangles, which will be congruent because they are the bases, right? So there's a triangle, okay? And there's the other triangle right there, and they will be congruent. Okay, so I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and get the area of the triangles right off the bat. Might be the easiest thing to do. And I know that to find the area of a triangle, I'm going to do base times height, and then I'm going to divide by 2. And I'm going to look at this triangle. And so I know I'm going to have 4 by 3 for my height and my base, because I have a right angle. And so if I do 4 times 3 divided by 2 is going to be 6 inches squared. But there are two of them. Now I have a choice. I could do that again, or I could just double it or write it down again. I think I'm going to just write it down again, and I'm underlining them, and you'll see why in a minute. I'll tell you what, I'll even highlight them here in a different color. Let me highlight them in this magenta kind of color, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. All right, now there's 3 rectangles. Now remember, it depends on what type of triangle we have, whether our rectangles are congruent or not. In this case, we do have a right triangle for the base, but it's also an isosceles triangle, or a scalene triangle, because all 3 sides are different measurements. If I have all 3 sides being different, that means I'm going to have 3 different rectangles. Well, if you can't see them, I'll draw them out. This will be the back one, the back rectangle, okay, which will be 4 inches by 20 inches. All right, and then I could do this bottom one here. Let me get my rectangle mode. And that bottom one looks like it's 3 inches by 20 inches. And then the front rectangle kind of looks like the ramp part of a bike ramp or something. That rectangle looks like it's going to be, let's see here, 5 inches by 20 inches. So I'm going to figure out the areas of all 3 of these. Well, 4 times 20 is 80 inches squared. 80 inches squared. This will be 3 times 20, which will be 60 inches squared. So I'll put a 60 inches squared here. And then 5 times 20 is 100 inches squared. 100 inches squared. All right. So those 5 highlighted numbers need to be added up because they give us the surface area of the triangular prism. Well, I know that my answer is going to be in inches squared, and so I just need to add 6 and 6 is 12. I'll carry the 1, and then I'm going to have 14 and 1 is 15, and carry the 1. I'm going to have 252 inches squared. There you go. Just broke it down into its shapes. All right, the cube is easier because the cube is made up of 6 squares. So all I need to know the measurement of 1 square, and then I can multiply it by 6. And so let's say this square is, I don't know, 8 centimeters on a side. Well, that means it's 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters. And the area of that would be 64 centimeters squared, because remember, area of a square or rectangle is just base times height. And so then we have 64, and I'm going to multiply it by 6. And what's that going to be? 4, 2, 8, 12, and 2 is 14. Oh, that doesn't seem right. Yeah, I think that is centimeters squared. You know, I'm doing this math in my head, and I'm just feeling a little bit insecure about it. I'm going to check a calculator real quick. And yeah, I am wrong. I'm not sure what I'm thinking. Oh, I know my mistake. Can you catch it? I said 6 times 6 was 12. I've been hanging around 8th graders too long. 6 times 6 is 36, but I have to carry the 2, so it's going to be 38. There we go. That looks a lot better for an answer. All right. So, uh-oh, something's wrong. My airliner's acting pretty funky. Okay, looks like I have the gremlin worked out, and we're going to do the area of the rectangles. Now, remember, this is a rectangular prism, and we're actually going to have 3 different pairs of rectangles. We've got this rectangle here, which would kind of be the left side of the box. And if you notice, oops, didn't take that, hold on. I'm not sure why it did that. Left side of the box. And look, it fits there the same way it fits here. Okay, if I'd colored better, it would fit perfectly, but I've got 2 of those. So I've got 2 rectangles that are each 4 by 5. So I've got 5 inches by 4 inches. There's actually, so it's 20 inches squared, but there's 2 of them, so I have 40 inches squared. Okay, now I have the top and bottom of the box. That's here, right? And it's down here. It should be the same. Okay. It keeps on doing my highlighter on me, but those 2 should be the same. Looks like the angles are off a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about fixing that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and draw the rectangle. And so that looks like it would be 4 by 30. So I have 4 inches by 30 inches, which is 120 inches squared. And there's 2 of them. So that means there's going to be 240 inches squared. Now I have the front and the back of the rectangles, of the prism, excuse me. So if I do this, right, and then that one is the same as this front one here. And again, it's just drawn a little bit poorly, and that's why it doesn't look quite right. And so, and do that, oops. And those 2 rectangles are each 5 by 30. 5 by 30, excuse me, 150 inches squared. There are 2 of them, and so that is 300 inches squared. All right, so we're going to get a 0, a 4, no, that's going to be an 8, excuse me, and then a 5. It looks like 580 inches squared. Oh, it happened again. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. All right, let's go back. There we go. All right, so 580 inches squared. Now finally, we have to do the cylinder. And remember, the cylinder is made up of 2 circles, right? So we're going to have 2 circles, and they each have a radius of, what is that, 30 centimeters? So 30 centimeters. So the area of a circle is pi times a radius square. So I'm going to use my approximation for pi, 3.14 times 30 squared. And so that's going to equal 3 1400ths times 900, which will be approximately equal, because remember, I'm not actually using pi, I'm using a close approximation for pi. 4 times 900, and I'll get 2,826. Uh-oh. Sorry, 6 centimeters, and that'll be squared, right? Now, I apologize, I have to write with my mouse the rest of the way. It looks like my airliner died on me, but that's okay. Now I have to do the rectangular part of the prism. Ooh, that's not a very good rectangle. Let's draw a perfect rectangle here. There we go, there's my rectangle. And I need to do base times height for my rectangle. The only trick is, see, my height looks like it's going to be, what, 60? But the base is going to be the diameter, or excuse me, the circumference. So I need to do pi times the diameter. Now in this problem, the diameter ends up being 60 as well. That's supposed to be a 3 there, by the way. Sorry about that. So I'm going to take 3.14 times 60, and then I'm going to multiply that by 60. So 3.14 times 60 again ends up being 1,240, and that will be centimeters squared. Here, I'll type it this way. Square centimeters. Okay, and I'll write that where you can see it. So now, that's the area of the body. So I need to take the 2,826, multiply it by 2, because there are 2 circles. So I'm going to take 2,826 times 2. Oh, excuse me. And then I have to multiply, or I have to add 12,240. And so when I do that here, hold on one second, plus 2,826 times 2, I'm going to end up with 17,892 centimeters square centimeters. All right, so that's it. Hopefully this will help you get ready. I apologize. I think I just maybe need to charge my airliner. It looks like the battery's dead. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.